this is Colleton County. So this one is for Beaufort and Colleton County until 4 a.m. We've got the tornado watch until 8 a.m. So it's pushing right through this area. Ladies Island there, Dawtaw Island, moving through places like that. There's Highway 21. This is Beaufort County. There's Wilkins, there's Chisholm. There is Dawtaw Island. There's Bennett's Point, Ashpoo Siding. So these spots, if you live there, time to get to your safe place as this tornado comes in off the Atlantic Ocean. So it's that thunderstorm there out over the Atlantic Ocean. It's the little appendage on the back side of that thunderstorm right there where we've seen the rotation. So that's going to push inland. So we've got Hunting and Fripp Island here, Fripp Island, Hunting Island, and that's going to push inland right over top of you. Highway 21 right there, right on the edge of Frogmore. So there it is, moving very quickly. What did we say, Chairston? 70 miles an hour?
Yeah, it's moving north at 70 right now. So again, quick moving. But
so, and it should stay just off to the south of Edisto Beach. So Edisto Beach should stay safe from this one, but there's a waterspout out there over the Atlantic Ocean right now that's going to push inland, and it's not a powerful tornado. It's likely an EF0 or EF1, but enough to do tree damage. And you got some reports of damage from some spots throughout the low country.
Yeah, looking in our chat, one of the Dorchester County emergency management, somebody from emergency management had just mentioned the cell that went through Dorchester knocked out power at a few locations, including their EOC for a second. It also knocked down a tree, a large tree in St. George at Quaker Road and Fairfield Road. So no pictures right now, but we are going to keep a very close eye on that one. But certainly seeing some debris with some of these cells, even if they're not warned, you know, those winds are gusty.
Right, and I stepped outside of the studio about a half an hour ago, and you can just hear the wind whipping through the trees, and we have had wind gusts. There they are. 39 miles an hour right now in Charleston. We've had wind gusts as high as 41, 44 right now in Somerville, 44 in Walterboro, up around 50 in Beaufort. Those are the wind gusts. So these winds really gusty coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. They're your sustained winds. So we're not talking about tropical storm force sustained winds. We're talking about tropical storm force gusts. Any tropical storm force sustained winds right here along the Savannah River and south, and that's back closer to the center of where Helene is. Helene getting close to Macon, Georgia right now, and pushing to the north right on through Georgia. There's the center of this storm, and Macon, Georgia's right about there, so it's moving up on Macon, Georgia. Now, here's the worst part of the storm, right in here. Here's where you have your hurricane force winds. Your tropical storm force winds extend out to about here, right along the Savannah River. And this storm is moving north, so we're just right on the edge of it. We're not going to get the center of the storm. The center of the storm is going to stay off to the south of the Savannah River, may brush the upstate of South Carolina, but it's not coming any farther over to the east toward us. What we have to contend with are these feeder bands that continue to spiral in off the Atlantic Ocean. There's your tornado warning right now. That's for northern Beaufort County and coastal Colleton County. So that's going to continue until 4 o'clock in the morning. Right there it is. So Edisto Beach, you're okay. This one is south of the Edisto River. The last tornado warning that we saw, that was just to the north of the Edisto River. So there's the rotation right there, just about to move inland. So that's going to move inland very quickly across Highway 21, right there around Dawtaw Island. It'll continue to move pretty much right over top of Dawtaw. And I know there's a lot of boats along here. I know a lot of folks have waterfront property, so that's where this circulation is going to move. So pretty indicative of a waterspout right here that's going to move inland. When a waterspout moves inland, it's no longer a waterspout, it's a tornado. And these waterspouts that are out over the ocean are pretty much just tornadoes over the ocean, and that's where they are, moving inland. And notice this is not a big storm. It's honestly a very small storm, but it's powerful. And these little showers and thunderstorms are very powerful. And when they're moving along at 70 miles an hour, if you get a little wind gust to come out of one of those, that wind gust is moving at least 70 miles an hour. You get a 70-mile-an-hour wind, it's going to do some damage. There are more thunderstorms farther out over the Atlantic Ocean. Fortunately, at the moment, these don't look as threatening, but they are pretty good-sized thunderstorms out there.
I'm seeing seeing a good deal of rotation within.
Probably this one.
Yes, that one.
Probably that one.
And then there's one just to the south of that one, but we'll have to watch those. But those are still offshore for right now. But again, I mean, these are continuing. These are moving fast. Again, 70 miles per hour.
Yep,
So
and that's why we barely have a chance to catch our breath here, because they are moving so quickly, one right after another, and that's going to continue to be something we have to contend with through the morning. There you can see the edge of our hurricane. So this is the eye wall of the hurricane, moving right through Vidalia, Georgia right now. So that's moving through Vidalia, just off to the east, south and east of Macon. Fortunately, the worst of the winds, the heaviest of the rain, the hurricane conditions back here along I-16 in Georgia. That's not going to come all the way over here. In fact, that's probably the worst of the winds right there. And those should make it up to about the Savannah River and then start to move toward the Midlands of South Carolina, the upstate of South Carolina. So a lot of times we're the ones dealing with the worst part of these hurricanes here along the coast. But the worst part of this one is going to head into the Midlands and eventually the upstate of South Carolina and then into North Georgia. We're dealing with these bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. The unfortunate part of that is these bands have small spin-up tornadoes inside of them. Small spin-up tornadoes can do quite a bit of damage, especially with trees and knocking over the power line. So there it is, moving on to Hunting Island right now. It'll continue to push inland. There's Dawtaw Island. So hopefully for you folks in Dawtaw, it stays just off to your north. It is a very tight, compact little storm, and it is showing the rotation and likely a spin-up tornado that's been a water spout out over the Atlantic Ocean. So a lot of times when you get these small, and there it is, shaved back just a little bit on that tornado warning. So the tornado warning now basically from Highway 21 inland through northern Beaufort County and throughout coastal Colleton County. So this is Highway 21 behind me. This is looking from downtown Beaufort out toward Hunting and Fripp Island, and you can see very heavy rain there. So the very heavy rain is coming down. There's your rotation pushing farther inland, and when these winds are moving so quickly inland, a lot of times they outrun the radar. So we want to make sure that we're watching the spots a little farther inland, like Bennett's Point. So Bennett's Point, please be in your safe place right now. Get to the ground floor of your house. Get into a small windowless room, like a coat closet, a powder room, a large pantry, a laundry room, something that doesn't have windows. Because often what happens is a tree branch can get knocked off, hit your window, the window shatters, and then someone inside is injured because of the flying glass. So you want to get away from the windows. So have that ABC News 4 weather app. You want that because in the middle of the night, you're sleeping, you're not going to hear that tornado, but you will hear the ABC News 4 weather app make an alert and let you know that there is a tornado warning. So download that ABC News 4 weather app. Watches, warnings, and the radar right there on your phone. And there is the center of our hurricane. Our Hurricane Helene is continuing to weaken a little bit. Do we have the latest update on Helene?
Yeah, we just
So Cherston's looking that up right now. And the heaviest and the strongest of the winds are going to stay south of the Savannah River, but we're going to get brushed by these feeder bands, and we'll have some gusts up over tropical storm force. So we should have, let's see, we're 3:30. They've been updating about every hour.
Yeah, so as of the latest update, maximum sustained winds of about 80 miles per hour, so still a Category 1 hurricane. But again, with these systems, you can't focus on the intensity, you have to focus on those impacts. It is moving north-northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So also moving very quickly, which is why we're seeing those, you know, that fast acceleration. We're seeing those gusty winds continuing to overtake the area.
Yeah, definitely. So that's really sped up. It was going about 23, 24 miles an hour. So now it's up to 30 miles an hour. What's happening is there's a big upper level low pressure center farther to the north and west, and it's kind of pulling this system back toward it. So there's a big upper level low pressure center here south of St. Louis, north of Memphis, right in this area. And what's happening is it's being pulled back into that system. So that's why it's not coming over to the east toward us. We're just getting the fringe of the storm. We're not getting the meat and potatoes middle of a hurricane here. That's going to stay right along the Savannah River, maybe brushing the Midlands and the upstate, and they're going to see some very heavy rain up there into the upstate of North Carolina and South Carolina. What happens is when you get those winds going up into the mountains, which is what we have here, we have a mountain range right on the Tennessee and North Carolina border, and when you get that those rain showers to move up in elevation, it just sucks the moisture out of it because of gravity. And as it's pulled down, you get that flooding, especially in the valleys and the hills. As it goes through there, it gets into the crevices, and that's where we're going to see flash flooding. It could be catastrophic up here around Asheville and parts of the Blue Ridge there, up into the southern Appalachians, northern Georgia there. Just very heavy rain coming down. They're going to get a whole lot more rain than us.
Yeah, I know my parents, they live in East Tennessee in the Johnson City area, and they have high wind warnings in effect. They have flood watches, I think. The last time I talked to my mom, yesterday afternoon, and that's what she was telling me. I haven't had a chance to look, but certainly seeing, and I've seen plenty of flooding already up into the upstate. Yesterday I saw a video of some rushing water in a neighborhood, and it's crazy because we don't see that in that area too often.
They've been getting very heavy rain for the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
So you put a hurricane on top of that, not good news for them. So we're lucky to be on the fringe of this. Unfortunately, we do have to deal with these isolated tornadoes that are coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. That's always been our thought. We weren't worried about the flooding. We weren't worried about the heavy rain. Even the winds, some tropical storm force wind gusts, we can handle that. The tornadoes, certainly not what we wanted to deal with. And as this storm pushes farther inland, it is weakening, but there's still quite a bit of rotation with this storm as it moves inland there, back toward, I think it was getting close to Bennett's Point as it was pushing inland. So it's south of Edisto Beach. So Edisto Beach is safe from this one, but this one is tracking again right through Colleton County. So here's the Edisto River, here's Colleton County. It's going to continue to push inland, and there is Bennett's Point right there. So if you're in Bennett's Point, please be in your safe place. Right now it'll head back toward Wiggins, Ashapoo Siding. So these are spots where this storm is headed inland toward. It is out over, it's over land now, but it did come on shore right around Hunting Island, and it's continuing to push farther inland, now moving more from Beaufort County into Colleton County. So it's transitioning from Beaufort into Colleton County. Pretty much if you're in Beaufort County, things are looking much better. Around Dawtaw Island, I told you to go into that safe place. You should be safe to come out now in Dawtaw Island. However, if there's damage outside of your house, if there's trees down, limbs down, please don't go out and try to clean it up, especially while it's dark outside. What you need to do is call the authorities, because if there's a power line that's been knocked down, there's the possibility that that still has electricity running through it. So they need to go out there, survey the damage, and get the electricity company to come out and take a look at that. Kirsten?
Yeah, and I do want to mention, the power outages. So, earlier I'd mentioned plenty of power outages. At one point over 3,000. It's still looking to be 3,000, over 3,000 people without power on Edisto Beach. Edisto Island, over 1,200 people. But I was looking at the Wiggins area up towards Green Pond, and now seeing over 1,000 people without power. So I'm not seeing an estimated restoration time for out there, but Edisto Island and Edisto Beach looking at estimated restoration times around 8 a.m. So it's very important that you have, and I know we just came out of that other tornado warning and I mentioned it, but it's very important to have that tornado or that those weather alerts set up on your phone. Download your ABC News 4 app or your WCIV ABC News 4 Storm Tracker app. You will get those alerts. Scan that QR code right there, and that will take you to the app to download it, to the App Store to download that. So very important to have those, especially with so many people without power this morning.
Definitely, and there are more storms offshore a little bit farther. I'm looking at a couple of thunderstorms off of mainly Charleston County now. I wouldn't be surprised if those are next in line for us to see some strong and severe thunderstorms. possibly some tornado warnings. So, and that's going to move a little bit farther to the north. Those are headed for Charleston County. So southern Charleston County, that's where those are headed. And that's one of the feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. So there they are, more of those showers and thunderstorms farther out to sea. A little, well, more than a little rotation right there. That's probably a water spout out over the Atlantic Ocean. So that's maybe going to come on shore, northern Edisto Beach up towards Seabrook Island. So, and they're hauling inland. The one that's moving through Beaufort and Colleton County right now, moving at 70 miles an hour. There are those thunderstorms out over the ocean, and see how they're lining themselves up. Not every one of these is going to have a tornado, but each one has the possibility of having a tornado, and we're actually fortunate that they're coming through overnight. If it were warm, if it were hot and humid outside, there'd be even more of a chance that these could bubble up in the afternoon, convectively induced. So we saw that several years ago, back in 2004 with Hurricane Francis. When it went through Atlanta, we were watching those feeder bands come in off the Atlantic Ocean in the afternoon. There was some sunshine, and that made these thunderstorms even worse. Cheriston?
Yes, I've got a couple updates. So they went ahead and canceled that tornado warning for Beaufort County, but they're continuing that for Colleton. So to give you a quick update on that, here we go. That remains in effect until 4 o'clock. It's still moving north at 70 miles per hour. But I also want to mention, you know, we were just talking about those feeder bands coming onshore and those, you know, those thunderstorms with a little bit of rotation. So the National Weather Service just mentioned that they're watching those two storms offshore, obviously displaying some very strong rotation, as we saw. The storm closest to the shore, which I'm assuming is going to probably be this one, but I'll have to look at velocity. That looks like it could make a run for the area around Kiowa and Folly, and then another storm to the south and west, further offshore, looks for Kiowa and Seabrook. So they're gonna make that decision to call a tornado warning on that as these start to approach the shore and we start to see, you know, if there's enough rotation. So just wanted to give you that update really fast.
Yeah, Cheriston, I'm looking at that second storm right now, and that certainly looks like the nastier of the two. That was showing more rotation. It's got a little bit of a hook on the back side of it. So the first one is this one here, and that one's headed toward Kiowa and maybe up toward Folly, but it's this one back here. If you pull the velocity scope down just a little farther, Cheriston, there.
That's the one.
That would be it. So that's the rotation out over the ocean. So this is likely going to prompt another tornado warning for Charleston County. So get ready in Edisto Beach, get ready in Seabrook, get ready in Kiowa. So this is going to head through there. Then it's going to move a little bit farther inland. It'll head toward places like Johns Island and continue inland toward maybe Wadmalaw Island. So these thunderstorms, as they continue to rotate in off the Atlantic Ocean, they're not big thunderstorms. They're not creating a lot of lightning and thunder. But what they are, they're packing some strong gusty winds and likely a water spout right now out over the ocean. And I'm seeing the one up here too. This is the first thunderstorm, and it likely has some rotation within it. But it's this one. That is a nasty thunderstorm. You never want to see a thunderstorm that takes on the shape of a kidney bean. So there it is, almost a kidney bean shaped thunderstorm, because usually that indicates that the thunderstorm is rotating and the backside typically does have a tornado along with it. There's our tornado warning into Colleton County, no longer a tornado warning in Beaufort County. So if I told you in Beaufort County to go to your safe place, you can come out now. But in coastal Colleton County, from Highway 17 on over toward the coast, we are looking at rotation, and the tornado warning continues. I believe that tornado warning continues until 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
So that's until 4 o'clock in the morning. This is Highway 17 right here. This is the Colleton County line. And this is Highway 303, which goes right through just off to the south of Ashepoo through Colleton County. So we're looking at the rotation right in here right now. Strong, severe thunderstorm, Ashepoo siding, you should be in your safe place. Ashepoo, you should be in your safe place. Ashepoo crossing, so, and we've seen storms over here toward Pon and Jacksonboro. So I think you're a little bit farther north. I think you're safe from this one, but the spots in central Colleton County, toward the coast. Wiggins right there, Ashepoo siding. This is passing through right over top of you right now. So even if it doesn't have a tornado right at the moment, it does have wind gusts that can cause damage. So treat it just like a tornado, because 70-mile-an-hour tornado or a 70-mile-an-hour straight line wind gust, the damage is pretty much the same. It's going to blow things over and create some tree branches down, possibly snap some trees off, possibly cause some power outages. And we've already seen power outages in this area because of earlier thunderstorms. So it's not just one thunderstorm. It's not just one round of thunderstorms. It's round after round after round, and they'll continue to push through. There are some of the power outages, especially from Beaufort, from Edisto Beach, stretching inland, right on up toward, that continues toward Willowton Bluff. So these areas have already seen Adams Run along Highway 174 there, coming inland from Edisto Beach. That's where we've seen a lot of severe weather already today.
Yeah, if I can interrupt you really fast, we have a new tornado warning. This goes until 4:30, so this will include Charleston County. So that's the one that they were watching. So let me go ahead and zoom out right here. So if you live Johns Island, West Ashley, you need to get into your safe spot right now, just to the south of Folly Beach. So I think the south end of Folly Beach definitely need to be taking cover. LaGrieville up towards Fenwick Crossroads, DuPont Station up towards Drayton, Johns Island. Again, West Ashley, you know, this is going to go right on shore here shortly. So let me go ahead. I can pull up.
And that's the first one that we were watching,
Yes.
Charleston, because there's another one behind that as well.
Yeah.
It's Folly Beach. So from Folly Beach on down toward Kiowa, right by Freshfields. So we're talking about from Freshfields Village up toward Folly Beach. That's where this is going to come on shore. We've got the sanctuary out there. We've got the ocean course. So that's where this one is going to come on shore. It hasn't yet, but we're giving you a little forewarning that this thunderstorm is about to push inland, and it will have likely a tornado with it. It's probably producing a water spout out over the ocean as we speak, just off to the south of Charleston. So the spots that are immediately under the gun, south tip of Folly Beach from the county park there on through Kiowa Island. So that's the first of these thunderstorms that's going to roll through. There's another one behind that. Hopefully it weakens before it gets to the coast. And that's another thing. These thunderstorms do flare up and then fade away very quickly. So as that comes on shore, we're going to be watching possibly another tornado warning. So our tornado warning for Charleston County out until 4:30 in the morning. That's for southern Charleston County. There's Hollywood, so it's really from West Ashley on over toward James Island, Johns Island. That's where it's going to continue to push inland. It hasn't really even come on shore yet. So Kiowa Island, get in your safe place right now. This is going to come right over top of Kiowa Island, continue inland right along Betsy Carrison, and then cross over onto Johns Island. So once it gets onto Johns Island, it'll head over toward Maybank Road, and then it'll continue toward Highway 17. So our tornado warning is out on this thunderstorm until 4:30 in the morning. We also have the thunderstorm there in Colleton County. It looks like maybe that has been allowed to expire.
Back. Let me see if I can't. It says that they're continuing that one. Let me take the radar off so we can get a better look. So they shaved it back some.
So it's right along Highway 17 here from just south of Jacksonboro, where 64 splits off from 17 down through Ashepoo to where 303 intersects Highway 17, and then that continues off to the south. So this area of Colleton County, basically from Ashepoo crossing over toward Ashepoo siding. So this part of central Colleton County, that's where we're watching the rotation move inland right now, possible tornado. We're looking at wind gusts up over 70 miles an hour. So the other thunderstorm is moving on shore right now in pretty much central Charleston County. Folly Beach on over toward Kiowa. That's going to push inland, and there it is off the coast right now, but that's going to push inland very quickly. It'll make its way in through Charleston County. It'll move over onto Johns Island. It'll eventually make its way over toward Highway 17, first Maybank Highway, possibly on over toward Wadmalaw Island. Wadmalaw right on the edge of that. So that's the thunderstorm we're watching for our next tornado warning. That's out until 4:30 in the morning. So another thunderstorm even farther out in the ocean from that one. So we can take a look at our other source too. We can look over at Max 1. We've got those showers and thunderstorms coming on shore, and there's the first one. So I think maybe we should check the live radar, because I think, and there's even some lightning in these now.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen a lot of lightning with these thunderstorms, but we're starting to get a little lightning. Here's the edge of the eye wall of Hurricane Helene. Helene winds of 80, 85 miles an hour right now, but weakening as it pushes through Georgia. It's really zipping along at about 30 miles an hour. These tornadoes, as they come on shore, really zipping along at about 70 miles an hour. So while the storm is moving to the north through Georgia, it's also bringing these back toward the center of the storm. So that's really accelerating these thunderstorms in off the Atlantic Ocean. So two nasty looking thunderstorms out over the Atlantic Ocean. First one, we have a tornado warning for south central Charleston County that stretches from Folly Beach out toward Kiowa and then onto Johns Island. So that would include places like the James Island County Park, if you're close to the James Island County Park, places like River Road onto Johns Island, Maybank Highway, Johns Island. So that's where our thunderstorm is moving inland right now. Lightning strikes out there over the Atlantic Ocean, and then there's another thunderstorm behind that, which may impact parts of Seabrook Island onto Kiowa Island. So we're going to continue to see that. We just got a new tornado warning. This one is for Colleton County. So are they continuing?
So
I believe they are.
They're
continuing.
Might be extending that until 4:15.
Yeah, they extended the one that we've been watching. So still rotation right there along Highway 303 into central Colleton County there. So still seeing that around Ashepoo, and that's going to continue back toward Walterboro. We've already seen thunderstorms that have produced potential tornadoes around Walterboro on Thursday. So now that we're into Friday, this is when we're really starting to, and this is when I really thought the activity would start to flare up, like 4 o'clock in the morning till about 8 o'clock in the morning. And that's solely because of these feeder bands coming in off the ocean. In one way, we're very fortunate, because we don't have the center of a hurricane moving right over top of us. We're not concerned with storm surge. We're not concerned really with flooding. The winds, we'll see some tropical storm force wind gusts, but not the real issue. The real issue with this is, and always has been, the potential for those isolated tornadoes to come in with the feeder bands in the northeast quadrant of Helene, and that's what we're seeing right now. Chairston, what do you have over there?
Yeah, so I've got velocity pulled up, and I don't know if we can pull that up on Max 2, but I can see why they extended not only the area but the time for this, and there's a pretty good signature right there where you can see that rotation.
So that's right around Ashepoo right there.
I'm going to go ahead and clear this and kind of zoom in and give better locations here.
And there is Ashepoo. So, and it's likely that little appendage that we saw back there, Chairston. So right around Ashepoo, it's likely this area here, just on the east side of Highway 17 over toward the Atlantic Ocean. So it's right in here, right over top of Ashepoo. Make sure you're in your safe place. That's going to continue between Highway 303 and Highway 64. We've seen plenty of severe weather move through here in the last 12 to 24 hours, and we're continuing to see another thunderstorm move through here up toward Droughty. You need to be in your safe place. Burnt Church Creek, you need to be in your safe place. So this is going to continue to push inland. Hopefully there is not a tornado, but there certainly is the possibility, and the gusty winds are there for sure. Heavy rain as well. Flooding not a major concern with this. In general, we're getting about 2 to 3 inches of rain, which the ground can really handle because it's been dry since Debbie went through, so we can use the rain. What do you have, Chairston?
And with that, I mean, being said, not only have the grounds been dry, so, we can handle this little bit of rain, but where these storms are moving just so quickly through the area, we're not going to have to worry about the potential for too much flooding. When I drove through the crosstown this morning, there was some ponding in those typical areas, but that's, on a good day when we have a couple showers and thunder showers. So, we're not too worried about the flood threat with these because they are moving so quickly. And another thing about these spin-ups, right, is like Dave mentioned earlier on in the week, these aren't your wedge tornadoes that are tracking for hours on the ground, just like we see out in the plains, right? These are going to pop up very quickly. They're going to move through, maybe not even touch down, but it's still a tornado warning. You can't downplay that. You need to still take this very seriously and stay in your, that far interior room, a bathroom, a closet, away from windows on the lowest level of your house or whatever building you're in. So, these, and sometimes it's hard for radar to detect these rotations as they're coming up off the ocean, right? But these happen very quickly. They blow through pretty quickly, but the thing that we have to keep watching for are those rain bands where, we just continuously see these thunderstorms offshore with that little bit of rotation.
And Cheriston, we are headed toward high tide right now. So
yeah.
High tide 4:36 this morning. And the official forecast for our high tide this morning is to rise up to about 7.3 feet. You get some minor flooding to start around a 7-foot tide. So we're about a third of a foot over that. So we're going to see some minor flooding. But to put it in perspective for you, last week we had full moon flooding. Last week's full moon flooding made it up toward the major flooding category, up around 8 feet. We're not going to see anything like that. So the full moon flooding we had last week, much, much, much worse than anything we're going to see this morning. And 4:36, so we're almost to that high tide now. So the storm surge, there is no storm surge, and the high tide flooding, not going to be an issue. What we're watching, the main issue is and always has been with this storm, the potential for those isolated tornadoes to come in with the feeder bands just off to the south of Folly Beach right now, right there, pushing inland. There's Wadmalaw Island. This is going to push on to Johns Island. So this line right here, that is Maybank Highway. So Maybank Highway moving from James Island over toward Johns Island. So that's where we're watching very closely. The rotation pushing inland right toward River Road, Legreeville Road. So we're looking at this pushing inland and Apapula Creek, areas like that, onto Johns Island. And it's going to continue to cross over top of Maybank Highway here, and then it'll push farther inland back toward Highway 17. So that's where we're watching this move through in central Charleston County.
Yeah, and that's going to be like my neck of the woods in West Ashley. So, if you are close to the Citadel Mall, if you're close to Carolina Bay, you need to be getting into that far interior room right now. This will continue to trek inland, and it's got a good signature showing that rotation this morning. I do want to take us back over. Let me clear this really fast. I do want to take us back over to the other warning and just kind of check out the rotation on that one as well.
That thunderstorm looks nasty, Cheriston.
It's really not looking good. And the thing about this one is this one's closer to the radar, so that will have a better handle on picking up that rotation. So let me zoom out a little bit and kind of see. There we go. Yeah. So that's where that's going to be, is that rotation. And
it looks more impressive than it did just a little bit ago. So the farther inland this storm is moving, the more rotation it's showing. So this is Highway 64. Right there's Jacksonboro. So Jacksonboro, you're safe, but farther inland, but about halfway between Jacksonboro and Walterboro right there, in this area right around Droughty, that's where we're seeing the rotation with this thunderstorm, possible tornado there. That's going to continue back toward Walterboro. back toward Drigger Crossroads. And this is one of the most impressive circulations I've seen so far this morning and from last night. So this one in particular looks very dangerous, moving through central Colleton County, right there around Niles. And this is, what do we have? Featherbed Road right there, St. Peter's Road, Pringle Bend, Cooks Hill Road, there's Droughty, there's Thayer, and then it's going to continue back toward Drigger Crossroads, just off to the east of Walterboro. So you're starting to see some of the edge of Walterboro right there. So it's going to head in the direction of Walterboro. So that tornado warning is out for Colleton County. I believe they put that out until 4:15, Cheriston?
So actually, it's funny you just say that, because it looks like they went ahead, so this will actually expire now at 4 a.m., which I'm kind of shocked about.
I'm a little surprised too, because it's showing some pretty good rotation.
Let me pull up the latest, because that was you and Sonia were running into this issue earlier where it was just a little bit delayed. So let me see if I can't pop up velocity here really fast and see if there's any.
I think it would be a little closer to the coast. There it is.
Okay.
Right along Highway 64 there. So, well, and what I'm seeing there is it's a pretty broad rotation there. So it has expanded out a little bit. It's usually when those rotations are real tightly packed together. This one's become a little bit more broad, and hopefully that means the tornado threat has gone away with this thunderstorm as it pushes inland. Right there is Highway 64 headed back toward Walterboro. So just stay in your safe place for now. Even if you're in Walterboro, you might want to seek safe shelter inside of your house. Stay away from the windows because that's usually where you see the damage. Here's that other storm. There's Folly Beach. We've got the James Island County Park right about here. So this is approaching the James Island County Park. We had a tornado warning go through this area a little bit earlier today, and Cheriston even said she was at home. The tornado warning went off on her ABC News 4 app, and it alerted her to the warning as it was moving from Johns Island on over toward West Ashley. So this is Maybank Highway. This is going to be approaching Maybank Highway very quickly. So crossing over top of Maybank Highway right there around the Muni course. So just to try to give you some spots where this is possibly impacting Maybank Highway right around the Muni there, and then that's going to head over toward West Ashley. So into West Ashley, we're talking about places like the Clemson Extension there, just outside of 526. So from like Bolton's Landing all the way back toward 526 and 17 there. So that's DuPont Station. So that's next in line for this thunderstorm as it pushes farther inland. Even spots like Highway 61 here along the Ashley River. So the plantations, so out near Drayton, out near Magnolia, out near Middleton Place. So there it is, and possibly even over here toward Dorchester Road, just on the other side of the Ashley River. So these thunderstorms very quickly moving inland. Is that the one that was moving 70 miles an hour, Cheriston?
Yeah, they both have been moving very quickly. Let me just make sure with that latest update. Yeah, about 70 miles per hour, moving north at 70. So very quick moving.
And this other one here moving into Walterboro very quickly. So Walterboro, you should be in your safe place right now as this severe thunderstorm with a possible tornado moves in around Walterboro, stretching on over toward Roundo and Drigger Crossroads. There's Cottageville. Cottageville, you should be okay from this one. But downtown Walterboro, here comes that thunderstorm. Even if it's not producing a tornado, it could be producing winds up over 70 miles an hour, which could cause tree branches to snap, trees to be snapped in half, and that's where you're going to get your damage. So what's going on over there right now, Cheriston?
I'm not seeing any new reports or anything. I'm waiting to see. So this looks like it was supposed to expire at 4. It's 4 o'clock and they haven't taken it down yet. So I'm going to see what we've got going on right here. But right now, you can see that we still have, let me take radar off of this map so you can get a better idea of what we're looking at. But we've still got those 2 tornado warnings in effect for Colleton. Did they extend that a little bit more? Okay, so another tornado warning has just been issued actually until 4:30. So it looks like they actually expanded. Oh,
here we go.
It's that other
new tornado warning.
Yeah,
that's the one in
that's
this is for the new one
right
in Charleston
there.
County.
Yeah,
that's the one we were watching, and honestly, that was the one with the strongest rotation out over the Atlantic Ocean. So this is more for Seabrook Island over toward Kiowa, and then that's going to continue back toward River Road onto Johns Island. So they're one right after another. So they're not going to knock over entire neighborhoods, but they are going to impact a few neighborhoods here and there with the gusty wind. So right here around Seabrook, if you live on Seabrook Island, please take cover right now. This thunderstorm, there's the rotation out over the ocean. It'll push inland very, very quickly. That'll continue to move on over toward Freshfields Village and then continue along River Road and push inland into Johns Island. So right there is Seabrook Island, right on the edge of Wadmalaw Island, Rockville right there. So Rockville, take cover, Seabrook Island. Kiowa, you should still be in your safe place from that first tornado warning, but now a new tornado warning with this storm that's out over the Atlantic Ocean. So it hasn't even pushed inland yet, but we were watching a probable water spout out there over the ocean. So there's Hollywood, there's Wadmalaw Island, there's Seabrook Island, this is Johns Island, this is Maybank Highway, stretches all the way back to James Island. So this is where we're watching, and there's two separate tornado warnings right here. So this one's a little bit farther inland. The other one moving on to Seabrook Island now. So we're watching two separate cells here, and then a third cell back here into Colleton County, right around Walterboro. So
go ahead and
there
pop
they
these
are,
all up
just
really fast and
popping
kind of
on
organize
one after
them.
another. So one tornado warning, two tornado warnings, three tornado warnings. So there they are. This is the one in Colleton County,
So
and that one is now until 4:15. So that is until 4:15.
They didn't they must have expired the one.
The first
they
one.
shaved off that
Yes.
first part, yeah.
So
Let's
this
see.
one
This one's down here.
Well, and that one's really shaved back now. So if you live in Walterboro, you're safe now to come out of your hiding spot. But if you're a little bit farther inland from Walterboro, it's still under the gun for that one. So the other tornado warning.
And then let me go ahead and pop up that third one.
This is the one. This is the one that was just issued. That's Charleston County. So both of these, so there you go, 4:30 on both of these. So let's go ahead and get back to the radar so we can see exactly where that is. So there you go. This is actually two different storms, one here and the other one right here that's pushing onto Seabrook Island right now. So the other one's a little bit farther inland onto Johns Island now. So it's actually two separate storms, one here, both showing rotation. The one on Johns Island is right around Maybank Highway. The one pushing onto Seabrook right now will move on to Johns Island around River Road, around LaGreeville. So these are going to continue to push inland off the Atlantic Ocean. One after another. And Walterboro right now, you are in the clear. So if you were in your safe place in Colleton County from Walterboro over toward the coast, it's safe for you to come out. So just off to the east of Smokes there, right around Weeks and Grover. And we already had reports of damage around Grover earlier today.
Yeah.
So I believe we had a tree down. And is that where you said the EOC saw some power outages as well?
So just after 3 o'clock, somebody from Dorchester County Emergency Management put in the chat that a storm had knocked out power at a few locations, including their EOC for a second, and knocked down a large tree in St. George at Quaker Road and Fairfield Road. So seeing some reports of damage there. I haven't seen any other reports of damage elsewhere, which could be good news, but it's also dark out, so we don't know what's going on. And most people, you know, unless you're up watching this tornado warning, because you've got that warning where you live, no, we're not seeing those reports quite yet.
Well, and Cheriston, I want to make a note about the damage that you mentioned around St. George. There was not a tornado warning in effect
No.
there. There had been earlier with that thunderstorm, but there was not a tornado warning in effect at the time when the damage was reported. So even outside of these thunderstorms,
You're getting those gusty
we can see the
winds.
damage. So you just need to be prepared right away. So, and I always like to say, if something in your gut doesn't feel right, there's probably something not right going on. So if you have this intuition that something is going on outside, get into your safe place. Turn up the volume on the TV. Look at these wind gusts.
That's
56 miles an hour
incredible.
wind gust within the last hour in Charleston, 52 miles an hour down there in Beaufort. And the stronger winds are from here to the south and west along the Savannah River. So the strongest of the winds are way off to our south and west, but we're still seeing wind gusts of tropical storm force. We're not seeing hurricane conditions. We're seeing tropical storm conditions, winds gusting up over 40 miles an hour. So Walterboro seeing that 45 mile an hour wind gust, 47 mile an hour wind gust in Orangeburg. So pretty much through the viewing area, we're seeing some tropical storm force wind gusts. Now, the farther north of Charleston you go, the less of a chance we have of that. And we're not talking about sustained tropical storm force winds. So these are your sustained winds, around 25 to 30 mile an hour sustained winds. So that's about what we were expecting. And we were expecting some wind gusts up over 40 miles an hour. And we're certainly getting some of those up over 50 miles an hour even. So really howling through Charleston right now. And the hurricane itself still well off to our west. It's back in Georgia along I-16, just off to the south and east of Macon. So there it is. There's I-16 right there that runs over towards Savannah, Macon, Georgia, right about there. And this hurricane Helene, well off to our west. We're not seeing the core of this hurricane. The core of the hurricane is right there, right up to the Savannah River, and that's going to move into the Midlands. So that's not going to move over here. What we have are these feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, and those continue to rotate. And I continue to see more cells out over the Atlantic Ocean that have the potential of rotating and producing tornadoes. So we've got the one coming on shore right now around Seabrook that's very quickly going to move on to Johns Island. It'll move over toward River Road, eventually Maybank Highway. We've got the other storm right now moving into West Ashley there, just outside of I-526. There's I-526. Here's Highway 61. So Highway 61 heads out along the Ashley River there. So possibly some rotation right there along Highway 61, moving on over toward Dorchester Road. That's 642 here, so that's Dorchester Road. There's Drayton, and then you continue out toward Middleton and Magnolia, and that's where we're seeing the rotation right now. Moving out toward the plantations, right in between these two roads, that's the Ashley River. So right out toward the Ashley River, seeing some of that rotation. Here's Maybank Highway on over toward Highway 17 onto Johns Island. Possibly some rotation right there, right along Maybank Highway. So Cheriston, what do you have?
Let's see if I've got any new information. So they went ahead and canceled that tornado warning.
Colleton?
For Colleton. So let me
Perfect.
go ahead and zoom out here, take this off and zoom out here so that we can see. So yeah, Colleton, you're out of the clear with that, but still,
That's still nasty.
It's still nasty.
St. George on down toward down toward the Edisto River there, right around Weeks and Grover.
Yeah.
So this is the area where we saw a little damage earlier, and something like this could cause damage. So the gusty winds in there, and you had the wind gusts up just a few minutes ago, and we're seeing wind gusts up over 50 miles an hour. So that's strong enough winds to cause damage. And inside of some of these thunderstorms, the winds could be gusting even higher.
So our producer in the back, our executive producer, she's in the chat saying Berkeley Electric showing some decent power outages in the Seabrook, Kiowa area. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up those. Oh, wow. Okay. Let me, hold on. I've got to go back to where I was originally looking on this map, because suddenly it is, oh, she just popped them up. Okay. So that's going to be from Berkeley Electric, and you can see over 2,000 people. That looks to be
that's Johns Island right there.
So seeing plenty of power outages along Johns Island, Kiowa, down to there. So I'm also going to pop up here. I'm going to look on Dominion's site really fast and kind of see, because you know, it doesn't take a tornado warning or anything to see these power outages. We've had these gusty winds all day long. You know, these can take down power lines. They can take down tree limbs, which the tree limbs can then take down power lines. It's just you get that ball rolling, right? I'm also seeing plenty of power outages. Yeah, I'm seeing plenty of power outages along Folly Beach as well. It looks like Folly Island itself, closer to the public beach access, 12th Street East, seeing almost 2,600 people without power there. Also seeing about 1,200 people closer to Folly Beach County Park. Seeing plenty of people without power down there. Let me check and see where we've got with everywhere else. I'm not really... It got a couple areas out into West Ashley, but I mean, right now I'm seeing the highest amounts along Edisto and Folly with these power outages on Dominion's website. And I do want to see.
Churston, if we could get over to live radar too. There's a thunderstorm that's outrunning one of the tornado warnings there, moving into Dorchester County.
I was very curious because I was looking at the rotation earlier on my phone, and I was kind of shocked. So let me go ahead.
Yeah, that's up around Ladson.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now. So Ladson up towards Somerville. So even if this doesn't have a tornado right now, it's certainly going to have some gusty winds. So winds could be gusting within this thunderstorm as it moves from Ladson up toward Somerville. It could certainly have some wind gusts up over 70 miles an hour. So there it is right there. It's kind of outrunning the tornado warning. The tornado warning ends right before you get into Dorchester County. So there's Highway 61. There's Dorchester Road, here's Somerville, and this strong thunderstorm moving right toward downtown Somerville. So not necessarily producing a tornado, but even if it's not producing a tornado, it could still have wind gusts up over 70 miles an hour. And as you heard from Churston, with all those power outages that we're seeing, there are tree branches being blown down. There are power lines being blown down. So it's coming from cells like this that's going to be moving right through downtown Somerville. So I would expect to see some power outages here pretty soon, right around Somerville. So fortunately, not looking at the rotation there. Not looking at
rotation, but where I want to go is I want to go down to the Hollywood area. I'm going to drag this down because the signature on this one's pretty impressive. Wadmalaw Island, just close to there.
There it is.
That rotation.
There it is, right there along Maybank Highway.
Yeah.
So it has moved off of Seabrook Island. If you're on Seabrook Island, you're in the clear right now, but it's pushed farther inland. Now it's on Johns Island, right between Johns Island and Wadmalaw Island along Maybank Highway there. So Maybank Highway, there's Wadmalaw Island, and then that's going to continue inland a little bit farther up through Johns Island. So lots of folks live out in this area, and you need to be in your safe place. If we could zoom in maybe a little closer on that and get a few roads.
Yes, let me take this off.
So there's Hollywood there. There's Wadmalaw Island. Here we go out toward Bears Bluff Road. There's Bears Bluff right there. There's New Cut Road. Right near Towles Road. So these are the spots where it's moving through right now. There's Fairview Plantation Road, Harts Bluff Road. Here's Gibson Road. There's Dixie Plantation Road, Goshen. So this is moving in the direction of Goshen right now. This is Highway 162. There is Hollywood. So there's Tougadoo Road. There's Meggett. So this is out right along Highway 162 there, and Stono Ferry is right there. So headed toward the Stono Ferry area. So a lot of houses in this Stono Ferry area. You've got a tornado warning in effect. That thunderstorm is moving in your direction. Even if there's not a tornado here, we are talking about winds gusting up over 70 miles an hour. Winds gusting up over 70 miles an hour, enough to create some damage. So this is going to continue to move from right around Johns Island, Wadmalaw Island, on over toward, ooh, I don't like the look of that. Right around Berry Hill there, along Highway 17, there's Ravenel. So from Berry Hill on over toward Ravenel, not sure, but there could be a tornado in this area.
Yeah.
There's the rotation in the thunderstorm. So it's not always in the typical locations that you would think on a thunderstorm, like a typical springtime thunderstorm. These are tropical bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, so they're usually small spin-up tornadoes. So if you're in Berry Hill, if you're in Ravenel, be in your safe place right now. Del Mar Crossroads, and then there's the Dorchester County line. So here's Charleston County, here's Dorchester County. It's about to move into Dorchester County, right along Highway 165 there, just off to the north of Highway 165. That's where the rotation is, and probably this little appendage here right along Highway 165, that's probably within the rotation. So right around Berry Hill, Ravenel, and that's going to continue to move over toward Del Mar Crossroads, and then this will move up in the direction of Somerville. So there's Cook Crossroads, there's Dorchester Estates, there's Somerville, and we've got the strong gusty winds already along Dorchester Road and Highway 61 there, right around Somerville. So very heavy rain here just off to the north of Hollywood. And these bands are going to continue to move off to the north. So Trooper Bob here.
Yeah, he's on Jedburgh Road. Holy smokes, it is rainy and it is windy out there.
So
That's
definitely looking at that very heavy rain, and we're going to see that within these bands that are coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, and it's all part of Hurricane Helene. Helene weakening in central Georgia right now, but Helene still a hurricane. Hurricane with 85-mile-an-hour winds. There's Macon, Georgia. Here's Interstate 16. So it's already crossing Interstate 16. Now, my hope was that it would be around Atlanta by about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's going to beat that. So it's going to be up near Atlanta, probably within, we're at 418 right now. So probably by about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be parallel with Atlanta. And that's exactly what we want. So leave it right where it's at, Churston. So I want to show you, we're almost on a plane with this storm. And when I say plane, not airplane, on the same latitude with this storm. So south of here, you're going to see the tornado threat diminishing very quickly. And it's mainly this quadrant of the storm where you look for the tornado threat. That's where we are right now with those feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. Now, this threat is going to shift a little bit farther up to the north, up toward Georgetown and Horry County once we get a little bit later on into the morning. But right now, it's right through the center part of the viewing area. So it's these little individual discrete cells out over the Atlantic Ocean that as they come inland, they start to rotate, very quickly get spin up tornadoes. So we're not dealing with the center of a tropical storm or a hurricane. That's back in Georgia. That's headed toward Augusta right now. Augusta really going to take a hit from this storm, and then that'll continue toward the upstate of South Carolina. That's where the worst of this storm is going to be. We're actually on the fringe of the storm. I know these tornadoes, certainly not a good thing, but we don't want to be dealing with what's back here along I-16. Do you have something else over there, Churston?
Not yet. I do want to mention, we're talking about these gusty winds as well. Not just the tornado warnings. Those are very important, and you should be in your in that far interior room away from windows. But I want to take another look at these wind gusts because as that center starts to get a little bit closer, you start to see those gusts up a little bit higher. 56-mile-per-hour gusts in Charleston, 52 Beaufort, and somebody from Moncks Corner had actually asked the National Weather Service about this is some sustained speeds for Berkeley County. So Moncks Corner Airport has reached as strong as 24-mile-per-hour sustained, but gusts up to 36. And you can see, it's continuing to be breezy. Right.
So sustained winds are staying just below tropical storm force, but the wind gusts are getting up over tropical storm force. So tropical storm force is 40 miles an hour. Most of our sustained winds out there, about 25 to 30 miles an hour. So sustained winds staying below tropical storm force status, but it's those wind gusts where we're reaching up above the tropical storm force status, and that's why we're under a tropical storm warning.
Yeah, and I do want to talk, so in this chat, it's not just the National Weather Service and meteorologists. We're talking about emergency management, and so somebody from Berkeley County saying that there are several reports of trees down and roadways blocked. Sandy Run Circle, Shortcut Road and Cross. Also looking Liberty Hall Road in Goose Creek. We've got and I need to look into this one, report of a tree versus a house on Bradley Daniel Boulevard in Somerville. And that's where we were looking at with,
right.
You know, there was maybe some broad rotation, if that, but certainly some gusty winds. So I'm going to go ahead and...
Well, and Cherston, that's also what I'd like to stress is we are under a tropical storm warning.
Yeah.
So tropical storm force winds can occur at any time if you're under a tropical storm warning. Now, the highest likelihood of that happening is from Charleston south, down toward Walterboro, Beaufort, Edisto Beach, continuing into Jasper County and Hampton County. So there's a 100% chance of tropical storm force winds south of the Savannah River. Those percentages drop off very quickly as you head up toward Charleston, just because we're farther out from the center of the storm. Tropical storm force winds sustained down there, tropical storm force gusts throughout the low country. And notice this goes all the way up to the Little River on the border of North and South Carolina. So tropical storm force wind gusts are possible all the way up through the entire state of South Carolina, but most likely south and west of Walterboro to Beaufort, into the Midlands and the upstate, because they're going to be much closer to the center of the storm. Since we're on the periphery of the storm, on the fringe, we're getting the feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. And those feeder bands are rotating and creating some weak spin-up tornadoes. And even farther inland there, look at that, Cherston, we've got another tornado warning back around Orangeburg. So
yeah.
That extends far inland.
Right. I want to go back over here. I looked up on the radar on my phone, the velocity. I want to pull that up over here really fast. I want to pause that first. We're going to pull up velocity over here in the Carolina Bay area.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right along Highway 17.
So if you are in the Carolina Bay area, you need to be hunkered down. You need to be hunkered down right now, just north of Hollywood, or maybe to the west. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. And yeah, it's still there. Let me zoom in. Let's see.
There it is, crossing
Yeah.
Highway 17, moving through Charleston County, about to move into Dorchester County. This is Highway 61 right here. So moving on over toward the plantations, up toward Dorchester Road there. So that's going to continue into Dorchester County. Good spot there, Cherston. That's right there on Johns Island. And there's the center of our storm. So it's well over 100 miles away. And this is where the worst of the hurricane is going to be. The worst of the conditions are spreading toward the Midlands and the upstate.
And some good news, it looks like they canceled that tornado warning that was the one that was the third one, Seabrook, Kiowa.
Yes.
They canceled that one, but they are continuing that one for the West Ashley, Johns Island area for a little bit longer. We'll have to see if they...
Cherston, let's go on I-26 here, just north and west of Somerville.
Okay.
Look at how heavy that rain is that's coming down, headed
coming
back
down
toward Ridgeville. So Highway 78 right there, moving west out of Somerville. That is some very heavy rain. And within a thunderstorm like that, you get the gravity of the rain pulling down the air that's up above, and you're likely going to see some wind gusts up around tropical storm force right here, just off to the east of Ridgeville, off to the west of Somerville, just between Highway 78 and I-26 there, right along the Berkeley and Dorchester County line. So that's where the heaviest of the rain is right now, right around Jedburgh.
And
isn't that where
Bob
Trooper Bob
is.
was? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he found the spot right in the heaviest of the rain right there between Jedburgh and I-26 there, right along the Berkeley and Dorchester County line. So some very heavy rain coming down there, and that's going to continue to spread inland. Most of that should move from Dorchester County into Berkeley County.
Alrighty, let me see if we can, Also going to be watching, that's what I was originally trying to do with on my phone here, but I'm going to pull up another spot right there. Let me go ahead and stop this right here. So I'm seeing on the radar on my phone a little bit of rotation just offshore.
Yep, it's that one.
Yep. So let's go ahead and move this.
Yeah, and this isn't quite as much as some of the ones we saw earlier. So hopefully that dissipates by the time it gets back toward the coast.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see about that one. But I mean, right now that's offshore, so
yep,
not too concerned yet.
So we just have that one last little sliver of a tornado warning. And that would be, I believe, right about here from Johns Island on over toward the Dorchester-Charleston County line. So can you take away the
yes, sorry,
radar imagery there?
Yeah.
So turn that off, and the last little bit of a tornado warning, yes, there it is. So from right here on Johns Island into parts of West Ashley, continuing to the south right there around Berry Hill Road, over toward the Dorchester County line. So this continues until 4:30. We're sitting at 4:26. So more than likely this is going to be allowed to expire, but we're likely going to see more tornado warnings as we push through the morning. So we're watching this one here, and it will continue to push right along Highway 17 on over toward Dorchester County. What do you have, Chairstead?
And I think, and Mel maybe can correct me, Lauren's over at Folly, right?
She's on Folly.
So Lauren Lennon is over on Folly Beach, and she just messaged in the chat and said winds here are very strong, like pushing you over strong. So let me go ahead and pull up those wind gusts again so that we can see kind of close to where she's at. Yeah, I mean, they haven't really, oh, look at Beaufort.
Yeah, I don't like to see that. That's hurricane force.
Wow.
So hurricane force wind gust in Beaufort. So little surprising that it's made it that far across the Savannah River there, but hey, Beaufort, 75-mile-an-hour wind gust. So we officially have hurricane force wind gust in the low country. So even though there's a tropical storm warning in effect, you can get some of those wind gusts up near hurricane force, and we're seeing that right now in Beaufort. So I was just going to check some of the winds as well. I think I can get Folly Beach pretty well. Let's see.
And while you do that, I'm gonna. It looks like they. It looks like they are going to let that tornado warning expire, but I'm going to just make sure until 4:30. So we've got at least another 2 minutes of this tornado warning here.
So here's a good one for you, Chairston. The Charleston Executive Airport, which is on Johns Island right there, within the last several minutes, they've got a gust up to 47 miles an hour. So if Lauren's out there on Folly Beach, we could say the winds are gusting up around 50 miles an hour, hopefully not the 75 miles an hour like they're seeing down in Beaufort. So that's the strongest one. So this tornado warning is going to go ahead and expire, but there may be more coming. So Chairston and I are here for you. We've got the entire Good Morning Charleston team here ready to cover you. Trooper Bob's out there, and we've got reporters in the field. So we're going to keep you safe through this. We've got a few more hours to go. We've got some more gusty winds, so we're going to take a little break right now, and we'll get back.
Can I add one more thing? And our assistant news director just posted this. A good reminder to not call emergency officials if your power's out. Just a good reminder there. Charleston Fire tweeted that out. Or
if
posted.
you see damage, that's when you call.
Yes.
If you have damage, not because you can't microwave your breakfast burrito this morning. You need to call the emergency managers and the emergency services if you see damage.
Yep.
Not if your power's out, because there are thousands of people with their power out right now, and very important calls could be trying to come through, and they can't get through because some folks are calling just for power outages. So we've got plenty more Good Morning Charleston coming up throughout the morning. We'll be here watching and keeping you safe all morning long.
All right, let's get right over to Dave in Cheriston. Y'all are tracking another warning that is in place right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a tornado warning. We've been watching this thunderstorm since it came in off the Atlantic Ocean, and sometimes they flare up and sometimes they fade away. Now, folks in Somerville, you need to take cover right away. Right around Somerville, we have a tornado warning. That tornado warning is out until 5:15 in the morning. So that thunderstorm tracking through Dorchester County headed into Berkeley County. So Somerville, Jedburgh, Ridgeville, that's going to continue off to the north and west. There's Cross, so eventually it may make it that far inland. So the circulation right here, and that's just off to the south of 17A, approaching downtown Somerville at this time. So if you live near Somerville, and I think it's a little farther south, Cheriston, I think it's down in this area right here that and there it is. So moving into downtown Somerville right now. So Somerville, take cover immediately. Get to the lowest level of your house, the ground floor, get away from windows, find a place away from those windows, a coat closet, a powder room, a pantry, a laundry room, somewhere, a small interior room where you can get inside, and in case there's any glass that breaks in, windows that break in your house, you can stay safe in there. So there is that circulation crossing right over top of Dorchester Road around Tranquil Acres there. There's Highway 165, Cook Crossroads, and that's going to continue right toward downtown Somerville. There was Slansville, so continuing off to the north. It's staying off to the south and west of Goose Creek. So Goose Creek, you're right on the edge of this, but you are not under the tornado warning. It's places like Somerville that I'm most concerned with. Lots of people live in this area. So there's Somerville, there's Ridgeville. You're both under a tornado warning. The tornado likely right back here along Dorchester Road. So there it is. Tranquil Acres right along 165 and Dorchester Road. So if you live in this area, you are looking at least gusty winds up over 70 miles an hour, and that's going to cause some tree damage. That's going to cause some trees to snap in half, and that'll cause some power outages. We've already got thousands of people without power because of these thunderstorms that have been coming in off the ocean. And there it is. It's going to move right through downtown downtown Somerville, west of Charleston right there. So this is inland. This is in Dorchester County. It's going to cross from Dorchester County on over into Berkeley County. There's Slansville. You're right on the edge of that circulation. So if you live in Slansville, make sure that you are in your safe place. Right there. This is Dorchester Road, and this storm is moving very quickly back towards Somerville. What do you have for a speed on that thunderstorm, Cheriston?
Let me go ahead and pause that and pull that up really fast because I did not do that yet. Let's see. It's moving north at about 60 miles per hour. So also to give you, I don't know what just came in.
Tornado warning for Orangeburg County, Orangeburg and Clarendon. So that's farther inland.
Yeah, I can zoom out and kind of, but that's going to be way out there. So also, excuse me, I know that Trooper Bob has been in the Jedburgh area. He got that warning and sent it in, but this is going to include 26 between mile markers 187 and 203. So you definitely don't want to be in a car. So if you maybe have this Facebook Live pulled up on your phone there on the seat, because I don't want you to text and drive or anything, but you need to pull over and seek some shelter. You just saw Bob's shot there. Very breezy, very rainy there. We've also got, and I don't know if we'll be able to show this here in a few, but our photojournalist Taven and reporter Lauren Lennon, they're both down on Folly, and the video that they sent of the winds from Folly is incredible. So hopefully we can get that pulled up here in a few, but certainly want to seek shelter in that far interior room if you are in the Somerville area. I'm going to go ahead and pop up velocity again really fast so that we can see where that rotation would be, and I don't know what just came in again.
I gotcha. Tornado warning for Charleston County.
I figured
So
that was
that's
going to be the
coming
case.
on shore.
Was that the Edisto?
Got to be this one.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and clear this really fast and pop it up down here and see what we've got.
So that tornado warning is out until 5 o'clock in the morning. That's coming on shore right around Edisto
And that's
Beach,
the one that we were
stretching
watching
up
also.
towards Seabrook Island. So again, Edisto Beach, Seabrook Island, you need to be in your safe place as this storm moves inland, right along River Road there, stretching inland through Johns Island, so back toward Hollywood. So there's our tornado warning. Here's the rotation out over the Atlantic Ocean. So that's likely a waterspout out over the Atlantic Ocean that's going to push inland right between Edisto Beach and Seabrook Island.
That one's moving quick too, moving north at 75 miles per hour.
So that one's moving north 75 miles an hour. So these thunderstorms moving very quickly inland. That's why you need to be in your safe place. And look, it'll be back near Hollywood in just a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So these
Hollywood,
are moving inland very, very quickly.
Wadmalaw, Hollywood, all the way up to 17 there, even up into, where is this, Del Mar Crossroads. I would just hunker down just to be on the safe side, but you can see that this is going to start coming on shore here near Seabrook here shortly.
Yes. So there's 174. So it looks like most of that is going to stay to the north of 174, north of most of Edisto Beach, up towards Seabrook. So that's really where we're looking at that coming on shore. Our other thunderstorm up here now moving into downtown Somerville, and that has a tornado warning out with it. The rotation moving into downtown Somerville, that'll continue back toward Jedburgh, and look at that. That's quite a velocity signature right there. So it's pretty tight. Do you have correlation coefficients
yeah, let
handy?
me go ahead and pop that up
Because
really
there's
fast.
a possibility that we're seeing some debris lofted in the air, and possibly right there. So right in that area right there, that is likely some debris being lofted in the air. So possibility that we're seeing different sized objects up in the air. Typically raindrops are very uniform in size, so the radar can tell that. When the radar starts to see things of different sizes, like leaves and tree branches and debris, it shows up a little bit brighter in a spot like this. So there could certainly be a tornado there around downtown Somerville. So
I'm gonna pop this up really fast. They shaved back that warning some to only include Berkeley and Dorchester now, but they even it looks like they even have it extending out into
through Orangeburg County
so.
into Clarendon County. So yeah, I mean, this is just going to keep tracking along, and there may be two separate circulations within that, Cheriston. The one right around downtown Somerville, and then likely another one here along the Berkeley and Orangeburg County line, moving north into Clarendon County. Yes,
and pop
that's
that
exactly what's happening. So there's one circulation there. There's another circulation right there. So one around Somerville, one right around the Berkeley County and Orangeburg County line. So this one not showing up quite as much.
But
Maybe.
this one's still popping.
The one around Somerville, so very impressive there. So it's moving so quickly, though. That just a few minutes ago was off to the south of Somerville. Now it's off to the north of Somerville, off to the north of Jedburgh now. And that's going to move very quickly through Berkeley County. So moving from Dorchester into Berkeley County and Orangeburg County, headed toward Clarendon County. So we're continuing to watch these one right after another. And then we have the other one that's pushing onshore on Seabrook Island right now. And that's going to continue over onto Johns Island. If you live in Kiowa River Estates, places like that. If you live on Johns Island, out toward Walter Road, out toward Maybank Highway, there's that circulation. Wadmalaw Island, and this is going to move very, very quickly. Cheriston said this one's moving inland at about 75 miles an hour. So Oak Grove, Wadmalaw Island, Johns Island. So you need to be prepared as this thunderstorm continues to move inland around 75 miles an hour. Even if the storm is moving 75 miles an hour and it pushes out a 1 mile an hour wind gust, that all of a sudden becomes a 76-mile-an-hour wind gust just because the forward motion of the storm. So we're looking at some very strong gusty winds, even if there's not a tornado, and that's going to cause damage. And we had thousands of power outages, right, Chairston?
Yeah, so I can pull that up here in 1 second. I'm in our news chat, and Trooper Bob is saying that he is feeling his car getting rocked back and forth, and that's because I think he's still up in the Jedburgh area. And then I also want to, Lauren, and I know that we have the video, if we can show.
Well, there's Trooper Bob
There's
live.
Trooper Bob right there. If we could pop up Lauren's video possibly, or Taven's video, you can see in that video, but this is a live look over Jedburgh Road, so you can see that rain coming down and it's breezy. So this is from Folly Beach. You can see those signs. Yeah, that's why I wanted us to show this, is because those signs are wobbling back and forth there. So let me go ahead and see what we're, here we go. Let's see here. Oh, I just did that too. That's great. Okay, looking at those power outages, we've still got plenty along Folly Beach, Folly Island, up along Folly Road. Also looking, let me look closer to Seabrook. Plenty on Eddystone. I'm not seeing all too many right now on Seabrook or Wadmalaw, but let me also check Santee Cooper. I believe that's, or is it Berkeley? Do we have those full screens? That's, I think that's going to be Dominion right there. Let me go ahead and see what we've got going on. So I'm also going to take this off and show you guys, because there are two separate tornado warnings right now for different parts of the low country. So let me zoom out here. And you can see we've got, and it looks like they keep shaving back that tornado warning. So now it looks like it might just be, let me go ahead and pull up the chat again. Outage center. So we've got this tornado warning up into Berkeley County. This one will go until 5:15, so they did extend that time a little bit. So that one until 5:15. Berkeley County also still have this one down for Beaufort, Charleston, Colleton, and I'm sorry, just Charleston County. I was looking at the tornado watch there. That one goes until 5 o'clock. So let me take those off really fast, and you can see where we're looking at with those tornado warnings. So one that includes Seabrook, Wadmalaw, all the way up towards Hollywood. Delmar Crossroads, you're not in this as of right now, but you need to still be hunkered down. Warren Crossroads also seeing you under that tornado warning. All the way from Long Ridge up towards Moorfield, along 176, 27 around Pringletown as well. This is where we're seeing that tornado warning, and again, they keep shaving back on that one. I'm trying to get to the outage map here. Let's see what we've got. So it looks like we've got and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but within the Tri-County, about 131,000 customers without power. So this will include parts of Charleston, Berkeley, I want to say, yeah, I think Charleston and Berkeley counties for the most part, and part of Dorchester County. So the Tri-County area, we're seeing about a total of 131,000 customers without power this morning. And then about 35,000 Dominion outages right now between Charleston, Dorchester, Colleton, and Berkeley. Thank you, Mel, for that one. And then,
hey, Chairston, I want to get a look over at Max 1 here, if we can take a look at that, because I want folks to get an idea of how large this storm is. So this is Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene crossing I-16 here in Georgia. There's Macon, Georgia. Augusta, Georgia is right here. So the main impacts are just starting to move into Augusta, Georgia as we speak. So there is the center of the storm. We're not actually dealing with the center of the storm. Oftentimes when a hurricane like this comes on shore in the Big Bend of Florida, it tends to track over toward the East Coast and over top of us. This one staying well off to our west. Here's the center of the storm. We're getting the feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, and I want to show you, this by far is the worst part of the storm. We're on the fringe of it. Tornadoes certainly not good, but we're on the fringe of it. We're not going to get the worst of the rain. We're not going to get the worst of the winds. We're not getting storm surge at all. We're not looking at the coastal flooding. So what we're watching are these feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. Each one of these feeder bands has the possibility of producing tornadoes. Now, I'm also starting to see that threat shift a little bit north of Charleston. So we could see some thunderstorms come on shore up here around Sullivan's Island, Isle of Palms, and then push inland into Mount Pleasant. So right now downtown Charleston looking okay, but I think the threat is going to shift a little farther north up to the north here. And see this? This is the end of the tornado watch. The tornado watch did extend far down into Florida. As this storm pushes farther up to the north, which it's going to continue to do over the next couple of hours, this tornado watch is going to be shaved away. In fact, the tornado threat is probably gone from Savannah down to the south. It's mainly from the Savannah River up over top of us. So we're under the gun right now for the center of where those bands are coming on shore. And then later on, that's going to shift up toward the Grand Strand. So right now, that's what we're looking at. Cheriston, what do you have?
Yeah, so thank you, Mel, for pointing that out. I was looking at the total customers for Berkeley Electric. So it's not 131,000 customers.
Goodness.
Yeah, without power.
Goodness.
So thank you, Mel.
It's about 35. We're
Yeah.
closer in the 40s right now.
Okay,
40s.
right
Santee
about-
Cooper,
Yeah.
not really reporting too many. The big one is Dominion. And I just want to say mostly Kiowa area and Somerville.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also want to, if we can hop back over to Max 2 possibly, I would love to show you guys the, I would love to show the velocity scans really fast. So I want to start up here, up into where we have this tornado warning. Let me go ahead and zoom out some.
Just off to the south of Cross there.
Yeah.
In extreme northwestern Berkeley County, about to cross into Orangeburg County.
And then I also want to go down to that other warning down here. Oop, that was not supposed to happen.
There it is, right around Ravenel.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit.
Hollywood, Ravenel. So, and that's about to cross Highway 17 in southern Charleston County there. So, so that's going to continue to push a little bit farther inland, right along 165 there, possibly moving into Dorchester County.
Now I do want to show this one because this is one that we're going to keep an eye on also.
That's what I said.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was looking at it on my phone and I was like, oh, might as well pop up velocity and kind of check this one out as well. So
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised. I need to go in the chat and see what kind of updates there are, if there are any.
So that's up toward Capers and Dewey's there.
Okay.
So,
also looks like North Charleston Fire Department, somebody from the fire department posting in the chat that there are some trees on some houses. There's going to be a tree on a house, Saxon, another one, Clifton, multiple trees down throughout the city is what they're reporting. So they're going to send pictures soon, so I'll make sure to get permission to use those, and then we can share them on here or on social media. But you know, we're seeing gusty winds. We're seeing, you know, these possible, you know, these tornado warnings where we could be possibly seeing that debris up in the air. So multiple trees down, which means some power lines could be down, which is why we're seeing these power outages. So you need to, if you notice that there's damage outside of your house, you need to just stay inside. You need to wait. It's dark out. You don't know what you're about to step into, if there's water ponding on the road, and you don't know if there's a power line down or not. So you just need to wait until it's light out and let the professionals handle these surveys once it's safe to do so.
So, and Cheriston, this is about the target time I was thinking that would be about the worst, from about 4 in the morning until about 8 in the morning. And that's when those feeder bands are coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. That's where we were targeting for the worst weather with this storm system, with those feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. And that's what we're seeing. So things should improve after about 8 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully our tornado watch is allowed to expire at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're still going to see some gusty winds, but if you look stuck on the backside of this storm system. Look what's going on back here in Georgia. I'd like to tell you absolutely nothing is going on, and absolutely nothing is going on except some gusty winds and a few clouds. This is very dry air wrapping around the backside of the storm system, and that very dry air is going to be sucked in over top of us later this morning up toward lunchtime. We'll probably see lots of sunshine, and by this afternoon, rapidly improving conditions. The wind's calming down a little bit, and by this evening, high school football games will be looking just fine. So that's how quickly this storm is going to be in and out. So those bands that are coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, we're just going to have to deal with these for about the next 3 or 4 hours. Even if that, maybe the next 2 or 3 hours. Right around downtown Charleston right now, we're seeing just off to the south of downtown Charleston, there it is, the tornado warning. That is into southern Charleston County around Hollywood, Ravenel. That's going to continue to push over toward Delmar Crossroads and into Dorchester County. So downtown Charleston okay right now. Then we've got this tornado warning in Berkeley County just off to the south of Cross. That extends into Orangeburg County and Clarendon County. So there are your tornado warnings. We also have a tornado watch that's out until 8 o'clock in the morning. And I have been watching some thunderstorms out over the Atlantic Ocean that look like they're going to come on shore in northern Charleston County within about the next half hour to 20 minutes, maybe even quicker. So I would imagine this could be our next tornado warning here.
Yeah, I want to pop
How about
up.
that, Cherston?
Yeah.
Boom.
Dave Williams
done.
calling it.
It's done.
I was just about to say I want to pop up velocity because I'm seeing quite the signature on this one as well.
Yeah,
I see
so
it better on my
the tornado
phone.
warning out on that one is until, well, I've got so many tornado warnings now.
That one's
there's
until
the last one.
5:30.
Yep, that one's till 5:30. So that's northern Charleston County, parts of North Mount Pleasant. So from about Porches Bluff on up toward Awendaw, that's where we're looking at the tornado warning. There's the rotation out over the Atlantic Ocean. That's going to come inland around Capers, Dewey's, up toward Bull Island. So just north of the Isle of Palm. So here's the northern tip of the Isle of Palm. So that's going to come inland there. So we also have our Isle of Palms cam, and I tried to set it up so it was looking out at the ocean a little bit earlier. That may be looking out at that direction right now.
Hold on, that's Edisto.
No, yep, that's Edisto.
Come on, here we go.
So
Nope, not.
Isle of Palms, it should pop up here in just a second.
I think.
Yeah, it looks like it must have gotten moved. So
Yeah, but if this is the Edisto one, it's certainly breezy. You can tell.
Here's the Indigo cam in Mount Pleasant. So yes, we're not seeing much out there right now, but those thunderstorms coming on shore. So northern Charleston County, parts of North Mount Pleasant up toward Awendaw, you are under a tornado warning at this point. So that means you need to get into your safe place. Neighborhoods up there like Tupelo, headed up toward the Tractor Supply, headed up toward Seawee Restaurant. So these are the spots in northern Charleston County that need to be in their safe place right now.
And
so
Dave, another tornado warning just popped up for Dorchester County, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this really fast.
And it's that same cell that we've been watching come across Charleston County. It's just now moving into Dorchester County. So that's very much expected. That's going to stay off to the south and west of Somerville as you head on 17A over toward Cottageville. So there it is. There's that next tornado warning. That's just a continuation of the tornado warning that we had going through Charleston County. It's just extending now off into Dorchester County, just off to the west of Somerville. If we can take these off, there it is, along Highway 17A. So as you head over toward the Edisto River, it's between Somerville and Cottageville, right there into central Dorchester County. So just off to the east of Givans, and that's going to continue to push off to the north. These thunderstorms have been moving about 60 to 70 miles an hour. So they're moving by very, very quickly. This particular thunderstorm with the warning is crossing right now from Charleston County into Dorchester County, headed toward Highway 17A. There's Cottageville, there's Somerville, halfway in between. That's where this storm is going to pass through. Even if if it doesn't have a tornado, it probably has wind gusts up over 70 miles an hour, which are going to cause damage. Charleston has lots of reports of damage. We've got another thunderstorm out over the Atlantic Ocean. That's in northern Charleston County. There's Wando. Here's Highway 17. There's Interstate 526. It's outside of Interstate 526. It's up toward near Highway 41, where it intersects Highway 17, and then you head to the north up through North Mount Pleasant. There is Highway 41 right there. So it's almost exactly Highway 41. So if you're in Mount Pleasant, a lot of neighborhoods up here, Wando High School up here. It's moving onshore right now. So this is the area that we're watching so closely. Tornado warning. So as you head toward Park West, Dunes West, and continue north, a lot of those neighborhoods right along the Wando River. There's Chandler. It's moving through Porsche's Bluff right now. Woodville. There's Whitehall Terrace. So Seawee Road, Bulls Bay Boulevard. So right over top of Bulls Bay Golf Course. There's Seawee Road right there. Here's Highway 17. So it's from North Mount Pleasant up toward Awendaw. There's Awendaw right there. So in between the two, and right over top of Wando High School is right about here. So this is going to push right over top of Wando High School. It's out over the ocean right now, but it's pushing inland very quickly. So that's going to move inland through Porsche's Bluff and then continue a little bit farther inland and head up toward Wando High School, some of the neighborhoods there up toward Tupelo. If you live in some of those neighborhoods, take cover now. It's not to you yet, but you want to get to the safe place now on the ground floor of your house into a small interior room without any windows. Protect yourself from any flying debris. That's going to be the biggest problem. These aren't the kind of tornadoes that come in and wipe your house off of its foundation. What they are, small spin-up tornadoes that cause tree branches to be knocked down, that cause power lines to be knocked down, and that's why we're seeing a lot of power outages. Charleston's got the velocity on here along Highway 165. This is Charleston County moving on into Dorchester County. So right there, we're seeing the rotation right around Delmar Crossroads, and that's going to continue up into Dorchester County as we head toward Highway 17A. 17A coming out of Somerville, headed over toward Cottageville. This is the Edisto River right here, so that part of Dorchester County right along Highway 165, that's where we're seeing the rotation. There's 17A. So downtown Somerville is up here. It's going to stay just off to the west of downtown Somerville and south, so it's going to continue to push a little farther inland. What do you have over there, Charleston?
And I will say this tornado warning for Charleston County, that's going to be allowed to expire in 1 minute. So Ravenel, Hollywood, you're out of the woods now, but again, this is going to continue. Let me go ahead and pull up here and see how fast this is moving. Let's see.
In general, it's been about 60 to 70 miles an hour.
This one's going to be moving north at about 70 miles per hour. So let me go ahead and clear this. We can give some roads out ahead. Clubhouse Crossroads, Cook Crossroads. You need to be getting into your interior rooms right now. Dorchester Estates, Lansville, Coachman's Corners. You guys will definitely want to take shelter as well. Again, these are going to be moving very quickly through the area here in the next few minutes. So looks like maybe Summers Drive, Carolinian Drive. You'll want to be in that far interior room as well.
Charleston, I do have some very good news. So the tornado watch is being shaved off as well.
Oh, wow,
so
yeah.
Now the tornado watch is really just to around Savannah. So points north of that, that's where we have the tornado watch in the entire low country, but we're not seeing most of Georgia now under that tornado watch. So really the only tornado watch in Georgia is right in Savannah and under the center of circulation where the worst of the weather is. So the worst of the weather is actually off to our west. So if you think it's bad here, just imagine what it's like from Macon on over toward Augusta. They're getting the eye wall of this storm moving through right now, and that's going to hit parts of the Midlands and the upstate. So that's what we're going to be seeing.
I mean, you can see that right there, still holding on to some very heavy rain, those thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And that's what we see around those eye walls of these tropical systems.
And that's exactly what I'm watching right now. So those feeder bands are what we've had to contend with the entire time. And that's all we're going to have to contend with through the rest of this storm. There will be some gusty winds on the backside of the storm, but there's much drier air building in on the backside of this storm. So I think by 9-10 o'clock this morning, we could be looking at bright sunshine. Maybe still some gusty winds, but the rain should be over. The tornado threat will be long gone by that time. In fact, we're sitting at 5 o'clock right now. So at 5 o'clock, 3 hours from now, that tornado watch is going to be allowed to expire. And I think parts of that will even be shaved out a little bit quicker. So down toward Beaufort, you're not looking at much of that tornado threat right now. I'm going to zoom in. I've got a mouse right here. So I'm going to go ahead on Max 1. I'm going to show you what exactly I'm talking about. So they're around Savannah, but the tornado threat is really even past Savannah now. So Savannah disappeared from my map, but I can make it reappear again. There it is, Savannah. And we're looking at most of that right now is north of Savannah. So the tornado threat is really from the Savannah River up over top of us in the low country. So we're going to continue to watch these storms rotate in off the Atlantic Ocean, and those are the ones that are having the rotation with them, and there are many more of them. So a few more of those storms from Edisto Beach on up towards Seabrook and Kiowa. We could see some more tornado warnings. We've got the tornado warning in northern Charleston County. I'm going to zoom in on that one because I want to get you some roads on that. Some of the roads up here. There we go. So right around Garron's Bridge Road, that's right near Wando High School. As you continue a little farther north up toward Seawee Road, right around Flatfield Farm Road, pointing Brittany Lane, right around Woodville, Bulls Bay Boulevard. So moving right over top of Bulls Bay Golf Course and neighborhood at this point. That's where the rotation is with that thunderstorm. And we're looking at the tornado warning out. I believe that is until 5:30 this morning. I can pop that up pretty quickly, and it is indeed until 5:30 this morning. So North Mount Pleasant, you're under the gun between North Mount Pleasant and Awendaw. That's where we're seeing the rotation. So zoom you out a little bit farther, and we do have more tornado warnings. One of the other tornado warnings, and I don't really like the look of that thunderstorm. I'm going to get another radar here. So as this crosses from Dorchester County, or from Charleston County into Dorchester County, right around Delmar Crossroads, Clubhouse Roads, Coachman's Corners, Dorchester Estates, that's where we're seeing the rotation. And see how quickly that moved inland, right around Givens along Highway 27 in Dorchester County, Knightsville. This thunderstorm is going to move right over top of you with the possible tornado Jedburgh, Ridgeville. Please be in your safe place right now. Some of these thunderstorms not even producing tornadoes, but they're producing strong gusty straight line winds, and those strong gusty straight line winds strike out of nowhere. We are under a tropical storm warning, and when you're under a tropical storm warning, that means tropical storm conditions can be expected just about any time, and sometimes they strike with little or no warning. We just got a little bit of that tornado warning shaved back into Dorchester County, so it's right along Highway 17A now. So that continues on up toward Ridgeville, on up toward Jedburgh. I'll turn off the radar real quick here so you can see where those warnings are, and there are quite a few of them. So we've got Dorchester County off to the west of Somerville on over toward Ridgeville and Jedburgh. We have extreme southwestern Berkeley County from Cross right around Pringletown and Long Ridge, so tornado warning there. We also have the tornado warning around Holly Hill and Utahville. That's into Orangeburg County. And then we have the tornado warning in northern Charleston County right around Mount Pleasant. But there are plenty of cells sitting just off the coast that have the rotation as well. So those are probably going to be our next tornado warnings, especially this one here.
I'm watching a couple of them. There's a marine warning for this area right here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see maybe a warning here in the next few minutes. But I'm also watching, if you go back up to right over there, I've been watching the velocity scans for those, and that back storm has, it's still far away from the radar, but you can see a little bit of a signature on that velocity scan. Yeah, so going to be watching for that one.
That's a water spout.
Yeah, so seeing some marine warnings, and that's sometimes a sign, you know, ahead of these warnings, you know, before they're issued, is you can typically spot those storms and then over the ocean, and those marine warnings are issued, and then you're like, okay, yeah, maybe we should probably get ready for this tornado warning here in a few. So it looks like they are going to cancel that tornado warning for Berkeley. So that's some good news. That's moving out. But they're going to continue that Dorchester one until, I think that one goes until 5:15.
I gotcha.
There's so many at this point.
So that one is going to be until 5:30.
Yeah. I also want to talk about some of the wind gusts really fast. If
I can pop those up too.
Yeah, so I've got.
So here's the current wind gusts for the low country.
Yeah. So I'm also looking at the sustained winds, and they're just below tropical storm force winds. Seeing those winds out of Beaufort coming out of the southeast at about 37 miles per hour, southeast at 35 in Charleston. We do have some video from Trooper Bob earlier in the Somerville area. If we could pop that up, if that's possible. It showed that rain coming down and being, it's raining sideways there.
Coming down in sheets is what we used to always say.
That's a good term for it. And then we've also got live pictures from Folly Beach, where Lauren and our photojournalist Taven are. And I don't know if we'll be able to pop that up, or if it's a little dark, but you can see a little. Let's see, what are we looking at? Let me get close to this little monitor here. Really hard to see stuff right now. It's still dark out there.
We can see a couple signs
we
right
can
there,
see the
and you can
signs
see
wobbling.
it wiggling. Yeah, certainly, and that's what you're getting with those tropical storm force wind gusts. So we're not seeing the tropical storm force sustained winds, but we certainly are seeing the tropical storm force wind gusts. And with wind gusts up over 40 miles an hour, that's going to cause some damage, even if it's outside of a storm. Just got a new
tornado warning until 6. This will include Dorchester and Berkeley.
So I think that may be just a continuation of the previous thunderstorm. So I've got it, I can pop it up right here on the live radar, and yes, it is a continuation of the severe thunderstorm or the tornado warning around Ridgeville, continuing on toward Jedburgh, right there along Highway 27, just off to the east of Givans. Givans right under the heavy rain at this point. Jedburgh, you're under that tornado warning. I can shut off the sweeping radar here, and we can see that. So boy, they're just putting them one right on top of another. So Trooper Bob right there, live check Jedburgh Road in Somerville. So he's right on the edge of where that is. So there's Somerville, there's Jedburgh, and there's Jedburgh Road. So that's where we're looking at tornado warning in effect right now. So hopefully, Trooper Bob, stay very safe out there. We've got that mainly right around Givans and Coachman's Corners right now. So Slansville, Knightsville. So that's going to continue mainly just off to the west of Jedburgh. We may even have a few circulations in there. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can see anything on our velocity scan. So possibly some rotation right in there. That's what I've been watching for a while now. That's right around Highway 17A as it pushes out toward 652. Maybe some rotation up here a little bit farther as well, but that rotation right in there, that's pretty tight. Let's see.
And when we're done up in the Somerville area, I'd like for us to go over to Mount Pleasant, seeing some rotation's still over there.
Certainly, we can get over there in a hurry. Here we are in North Mount Pleasant. Now that's starting to move from Mount Pleasant right around Park West there, along Highway 41 into Berkeley County. So might see a tornado warning pop here for Berkeley County as that pushes farther inland. So along the coast there, out toward Dewey's and Capers, Bulls Bay, Golf Course, you're in the clear now. So it's a little bit farther inland, right around Wando, right along the Wando River there. So did you actually see some rotation there, Chairston?
I did, and then that new scan came out, and now I just I look like a liar right now.
Oh no, not at all. These are very fast.
So it's
forming.
actually, so if you go up into Berkeley County, it's into Berkeley County now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to
Right
be right
there
about
at 402 and 41 as you head up into the Francis Marion
See,
Forest.
I'm not a liar. It's
So-
just moving quickly.
Very quickly, and they spin up very quickly and they dissipate very quickly. So within a matter of minutes, you may have a tornado, and then a minute or two later, that tornado could be gone. So also out over the Atlantic Ocean here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit farther. So as we zoom out, those are some nasty. Oh,
The one, if you show the velocity on that one just offshore, that top one,
I gotcha.
I think you know which one.
That
yeah.
one right there. So, and remember I said a little bit earlier, you don't like to see
No.
storms that are shaped like a kidney bean. That's one shaped like a kidney bean. And look at the one right behind it. It's showing rotation too.
And
I don't
then-
like the look of this one.
Nope.
Just about to move on to Seabrook Island. So
Also watching the one close, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
There's one closer to Edisto, just offshore of Edisto as well.
So basically what we're trying to say right now is if you're in Charleston County, Dorchester County, Berkeley County, you need to be ready to go to your safe place at a moment's notice, because these thunderstorms are producing tornadoes. Even if they're not producing tornadoes, we saw the wind gusts even outside of the thunderstorms up over 60 miles an hour. That's strong enough to cause damage, especially with all the rain that's fallen since yesterday morning. So we've seen right here at the station over 2 inches of rainfall. That's enough to soften up the ground so trees can be blown over quite easily. So everyone in the Tri-County area right now needs to be aware this is the worst of the storm for us. And it's because of those feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, producing isolated, small, spin-up tornadoes. We're not talking about big wedge tornadoes like you see the videos of out on the plains in Oklahoma. We're talking about small, tight, spin-up tornadoes that are very brief. They don't stick around very long, but they do damage. They don't wipe your house off of its foundation, but what they do is they knock over some of the trees in your neighborhood. There's a new tornado warning right now. So our new tornado warning, that's a little farther inland, so that's for Clarendon County.
Okay.
But those small tornadoes, when they knock over the trees, that can cause damage to your house, especially if they hit a window. Knocks out that glass, and that flying glass can cause injuries. We also get the power outages when the tree branches are blown into the power lines, even when the power poles snap. So there's Trooper Bob right there. It looks like we had an emergency vehicle just drive by. So looks like we've got another emergency vehicle coming there.
He just put in the chat, as soon as you said his name, he said it's windy now in Jedburgh, big gusts from time to time, car struck a tree in the roadway here earlier, rain from time to time, power is out, came back on in the area, and then went back off. So I want to talk about those power outages really quick. You know, we've got Mel and Conley on the desk right now. You know, they're ready to do the news, but we've got tornado warning after tornado warning. But they're helping us out by, you know, checking on those power outages. So thank you both for doing, for helping us out. So as of 5:15, it is 5:15 right now, about 76,000 customers without power between Dominion, Berkeley Electric, and Santee Cooper, and this is between Charleston, Dorchester, Berkeley, and Colleton County. So plenty of people waking up in the dark this morning, and then it looks like Bamberg County is pretty much without power also.
And Cheriston, things are looking a little better just for the moment because we do have 2 tornado warnings at this point. The 2 tornado warnings, the one in northern Charleston County, mainly North Mount Pleasant, and then we have the one right along the Dorchester and Berkeley County line, right along I-95 and Highway 176 there. So this tornado warning around Ridgeville, Harleyville, it continues to get shaved back a little bit smaller right around Pringletown, and that'll continue on toward the Orangeburg County line. This tornado warning, that one in particular, is out until 6 o'clock in the morning, so about another 45 minutes. That may be allowed to expire a little bit early, but at this point that's out until 6 o'clock in the morning. The one in North Mount Pleasant, I believe, is out until 5:45.
Yeah.
I can zoom over on that one. So,
let's see.
And they went ahead and expired that one. So.
Yep.
We've only got the one tornado warning right now, and I'll add that radar back on so we can see exactly where we're talking about, right along Highway 27 there. This is near where Trooper Bob just was, Ridgeville. He's a little bit farther east of there along Highway 78 in Jedburgh, but around Ridgeville right now, we're looking at that Pringletown stretching up to the north, up toward Cross, Moorfield there. There's Purlew, Tugtown, just off to the east of Harleyville. So this that tornado warning is out until 6 o'clock in the morning. So we're continuing to see that. What's new on your end there, Cheriston?
Not a whole lot. I'm trying to see. If we could turn over to Max 2 really fast. I want to show the water vapor imagery. Check that out. Look at all that dry air, and that is starting to slowly wrap around Helene there, which is now a tropical storm. I can give you guys a quick update on that as well. So it is continuing to weaken, and that's what happens when these systems move over land, when they have that land interaction. So it's moving north at 30 miles per hour. So there's that turn northward now compared to northeast. But again, we've still got those tropical storm warnings in effect, and that's because it is breezy. It's not going to pop up. There we go. It's still very windy out there with those gusts up to, let me pull it up really fast. We've got gusts up to 66 miles per hour down towards Beaufort. Moncks Corner, 39 mile per hour gusts, 38 in Somerville, 56 in Charleston, so very breezy. And we could see that in both Lauren's shot, down on Folly where those signs were wiggling, and then Trooper Bob's shots, where that rain, it was pretty much raining sideways, so it looks like a new tornado warning has actually just been issued for Charleston County until 5:45.
That's the area I've been watching. It's southern Charleston County around Seabrook Island once again. So there it is. I've got the velocity scan on it on Max 1. Most of the rotation is out over the Atlantic Ocean just off of Seabrook Island. That's going to push on to Seabrook Island. I can turn off the imagery here and erase our velocity scan. So there goes the velocity scan, there goes the sweeping radar, and there is your tornado warning. So the new tornado warning does include Seabrook Island, even Kiowa Island. So Seabrook, Kiowa, right in between the two, Freshfields Village there, about to move across onto Johns Island. What you see right there, the road you see is Maybank Highway. There's Legreeville right on the edge of Legreeville. Fenwick Crossroads as you kind of move from James Island over onto Johns Island. There's Miller Hill, there's Berry Hill, there's Johns Island, Stono Station. So moving very quickly inland. That particular thunderstorm, let's see, is moving inland.
Hold on, I'll pull it up. It's moving north at 55 miles per hour. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but okay. Also, if I can interrupt you really fast.
You certainly can.
The Somerville Police Department advising that South Main Street near Marion Avenue is shut down due to a tree blocking that roadway. So again, this is going to be a pretty busy thoroughfare in the Somerville area. So South Main Street near Marion Avenue is shut down due to a tree blocking that roadway. And we've gotten so many reports so far. And I'm sure once that sun comes up and, officials go out and really assess some of this damage, when it's safe to do so, when we're not under this tornado threat, we'll get more reports. Some other ones that I was seeing earlier on, trees on houses, Saxon and Clifton, both in North Charleston, multiple trees down throughout the city. Also, we had some up into, I lost that. That was a while ago. Okay, some trees down and roadways blocked in the Berkeley County area, Sandy Run Circle, Shortcut Road and Cross, Liberty Hall Road and Goose Creek. And then there was a report of a tree on a house on Bradley Daniel Boulevard in Somerville. So gonna get some more information on some of these and get permission to use pictures once we start seeing them more coming in here in just a little bit. But that's why we're stressing that you need to, if you are headed out on the roads, you need to be careful this morning. There are going to be multiple roads closed this morning due to those trees down or power lines down. And that's why we're also stressing that you need to not go out and assess that damage. If you see damage in front of your house, you need to just stay inside. Because you don't know what's going on out there. Power lines could be down and you just won't see them. And
so not sure exactly what we're seeing there on Folly Beach. I mean, you can see the palm trees being blown around, but maybe a piece of the roof there.
Whoa, yeah.
Or an awning or something like that on one of the buildings. So
About 25 minutes ago.
About 25 minutes ago out on Folly Beach. So there you go, possibly some damage just from the wind. So there's not a tornado going through there. That's just because of the wind, and winds gusting up over tropical storm force. And there are the wind gusts. Right now the wind's gusting as high as 66 miles an hour in Beaufort. We did see earlier in Beaufort the wind was gusting up to 75 miles an hour. So that would be a hurricane force wind gust, which we haven't seen the sustained winds up to tropical storm force, but the gusts certainly up there.
Really fast. So just below tropical storm force sustained winds, 35 mile per hour winds.
But the gusts certainly up over tropical storm force.
The gusts.
And that's why we're seeing the damage.
And if I can add one thing, when I was driving into work, late last night, I have to take the Ravenel Bridge, and I'll say it was breezy, and it didn't help that there was that rain also. So you're really white knuckling the steering wheel this morning. So if you are, even as this system continues to pass to the west, it's still going to be breezy as we head into later on today. So you need to just two hands on the wheel if you're crossing the Don Holt, Wando, Ravenel bridges, even maybe some of the smaller bridges.
And if you're in a high-profile vehicle, just avoid those areas altogether. And I always get the question, when do the bridges close? And the bridges don't close due to wind, so the bridges will stay open. The problem is the emergency vehicles, which are high-profile vehicles, can't drive up there to help you if you have a problem. So it's best to just wait this one out. So I think by later this morning, like 10, 11 o'clock.
Start to ease back a little bit.
Right, conditions are going to be much better. So.
And that's why the schools are on, probably
e-learning days, a lot of e-learning days.
Is because it's not safe for the school buses to go over some of these bridges and
we had a wind gust up to 75 miles an hour.
I would not be out on the roads at all if I saw that.
So if you can hold off going to work maybe an hour or two this morning, you're probably going to be much better off.
Yes.
As we go through the morning, the conditions are going to improve rapidly. Even right now around Savannah, the conditions are improving dramatically. They're no longer under a tornado threat, first of all. They're still seeing some gusty winds, but they're actually going to see the skies clearing. They're probably pretty much done with the rain altogether. And we're just looking at this for about the next 2 hours. after that, things are going to improve dramatically as we push through the morning. But we are still dealing with the tornado warning, so we have that tornado warning over onto southern Charleston County, right around Seabrook Island, pushing onto Johns Island. I'm going to get you a better look at that with the radar right here, and I'll zoom it in real close. So there it is. That's going to continue from Seabrook and Kiowa Island right on over toward Legreeville, Fenwick Crossroads. That's Johns Island. 700 there, that would be Maybank Highway. There's Bohicket Road, which is Betsy Carrison Parkway. There's where River Road cuts off. Continuing on up toward Retriever Road. And then you get to Maybank Highway. There's Bears Bluff Highway, or Bears Bluff Road. Bears Bluff Road takes you over onto Wadmalaw Island. So we're talking about Wadmalaw Island as well. So these are the areas that are looking at that tornado warning. And like I say, it doesn't matter if it's a tornado or straight line winds. If it's doing damage, it's not a good thing. And we're going to be looking at even straight line winds doing damage. We've seen some of these thunderstorms outside of tornado warnings doing damage. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to be under a tornado warning to get damage. So that's why you are under a tropical storm warning, because tropical storm conditions are possible at any time through the next several hours. So we've got the tornado watch that stays in effect until 8 o'clock this morning. We've got this tornado warning that's in southern Charleston County. Things looking a little bit better on Seabrook and Kiowa, but hey, there's another storm just offshore. There's more storms headed toward northern Charleston County, up around Awendaw and Bulls Bay. So we're going to continue to see these spiral inland. And some of these, I'm going to circle these off the coast. Some of these thunderstorms off the coast right now, these ones right here, may eventually start to move toward Folly Beach and downtown Charleston. So downtown Charleston really hasn't seen much of anything as far as the severe weather, but some of these thunderstorms off the coast, those are going to start to head back toward downtown Charleston. So nobody is safe just yet. And that's why we're watching so closely. Charleston?
I will say there was that tornado warning up into Berkeley and Dorchester that has been canceled. So now, right now, we're just looking at that one, and that's for Charleston County. So, but again, I mean, we're going to be watching those storms just offshore as well. I'm going to go ahead on my computer really fast and see if I can't pull up velocity to see where that rotation is and maybe give some locations. Let's see here.
So there's our tornado warning out until 5:45 this morning. Looks like that rotation has moved very quickly inland. It looks like it's over by Highway 17 right now.
Yeah, it looks like it's about to cross over 17
So that would
shortly.
be moving from Johns Island on into West Ashley.
Yeah, so does that warning extend up into the West Ashley area? Or up into...
let me turn off my radar data. Right on the edge of West Ashley.
Okay.
So
I'd say this
right up to Highway
probably
17.
looks to be close to my neighborhood. Yeah, half of my neighborhood is included in this. So this is also going to be up towards Carolina Bay, James Bay Road, Main Road. Looking at, let's see, you know, the Melrose neighborhood. Looking at this warning right in the middle of that neighborhood. So the Long Branch Drive, you're still under that. Marginal Road, Carolina Bay Drive, you guys are under that. Also, Main Road, like I said, you know, this is where that rotation is being picked up on radar, and it looks like, yeah, they're going to continue that, but it looks like they might have shaved a part of that warning off. So again, this goes until 5:45 for Charleston County. So
yeah, they shaved quite a bit of that back. It looks like all the way almost to Highway 17.
So definitely definitely want to be in that safe spot right there. So let me go ahead and pop up velocity again over here. And I don't know, okay, so you do have it, okay. So.
Yeah, there it is, right near Highway 17.
I'm trying to zoom in here. So Johns Island, just to the south of DuPont Station, and just to the south, maybe maybe just to the south of Carolina Bay. So this is going to be close to Stono Station, Johns Island, Berry Hill, right in that little.
Yeah, and that's right at the spot where 162 splits off and heads over towards Stono Ferry off of Highway 17. So that's where we're looking at right at this moment, just south of Main Road there on Highway 17, and it's moving inland pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm trying to see on. Yeah, and then of course, we're watching those areas offshore. I'm gonna be paying attention to.
Yeah, I'm looking at those right now,
yeah.
Kirsten. Especially, there's a couple cells off to the north of Charleston, headed toward Bulls Bay.
Yep.
Those will head up toward Awendaw and McClellanville, and then there's quite a few cells even farther offshore, which appear to be headed back toward central Charleston County. First of all on Folly Beach, and then stretching inland toward James Island, and those could eventually make it to downtown Charleston. So but this should be the last hurrah. I mean, I'm looking at the radar right now, and to me, things look much better once you leave Colleton County and Beaufort County. You are still under a tornado watch in Beaufort until 8 o'clock in the morning, but I'd be surprised if you see any tornadic activity. I think our tornadic activity is going to be confined to Colleton, Charleston, Dorchester, Berkeley, and then starting to move up into Georgetown and Williamsburg counties. So this threat is moving north very, very quickly.
And they also are keeping those tornado watches around that eye wall into central Georgia.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. So that's by far where the worst of the
Right.
storm is off to our west over in Georgia. We don't want any part of that. We're actually lucky just getting these feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. The damage is going to be much more through central Georgia than what we're seeing here.
Starting to see those gusts pick up down into Beaufort, 72-mile-per-hour wind gust in Beaufort right now. I saw it pop in on the chat for somewhere else, and I was like, oh, let me see what we're looking at in terms of those gusts. I'm not sure exactly where this is right now that came in, but seeing some gusty winds. But as we've been talking about, the sustained winds have been below tropical storm force criteria. So you can see those winds out of Beaufort coming out of the south, 37 miles per hour, southeast 35 down into Charleston. So but you have to look at those gusts, and it is breezy out there, even up into Monk's Corner, seeing a 39 mile per hour wind gust, 53 out towards Orangeburg. So definitely want to be careful if you do have to be out on the road.
And Cherston, think about that 72-mile-an-hour wind gust in Beaufort. Through the Midlands and the upstate, wind gusts like that are going to be commonplace, probably even higher because they're closer to the center of where Helene is.
Well, and my parents, I mentioned this probably 2 hours ago now, but my parents, they're in East Tennessee. They're under high wind warnings. They don't get those a whole lot, flood watches are something with heavy rains as well.
Yeah.
So gonna be a bit breezy into the Appalachian
Think about
Mountains.
it. The center of this storm is over 100 miles inland away
Right.
from us, and we're getting impacts like this. We've been getting impacts since yesterday.
morning.
It's just such a huge storm. It's huge. It was powerful. It came on shore right around 11:10 last night, just off to the south and east of Tallahassee, Florida. Tornado warning, Orangeburg County. That's just a hurricane statement.
Yeah.
We still have the tornado watch until 8 and the tropical storm warning, which will last until the tropical storm conditions subside, and that will likely be later this morning. So we're looking at that thunderstorm right now in Charleston County, right around Johns Island, just off to the south of West Ashley on Highway 17. That's where our tornado warning is out. That tornado warning, I wouldn't be surprised if they let this expire here pretty soon, because that thunderstorm has actually moved almost completely back into Dorchester County at this point. So that tornado warning likely going to expire. But look at some of these thunderstorms off the coast. These ones moving in around Bulls Bay. So that one there headed toward McClellanville. That's a very strong thunderstorm. Even if it doesn't get a tornado warning, it could have wind gusts up over 70 miles an hour. And then these thunderstorms. These are the ones that I really think, I circled them a little bit earlier. I'm going to do it again because these ones here are headed toward downtown Charleston.
And,
so there you go.
Yeah. Those are going to be worth watching. I also want to give a quick update on the power outages. So earlier on, about 5:15, there were a total of about 76,000 customers without power. And now, as of 5:30, about 83,000 across the Low Country this morning. So a lot of people waking up in the dark.
Lots of power outages. So there is our hurricane, well, tropical storm now. Tropical storm Helene came on shore with 140-mile-an-hour winds. Right now, the center of the storm just off to the west of Augusta, right around Warrenton in Georgia. So the center of the storm is not coming here to the Low Country. The center of the storm is staying well off to the west of I-95. What we're looking at are the feeder bands that are feeding into the center of that storm, and those feeder bands are what have had the tornadoes along with them. Relatively weak EF1, EF0 tornadoes. We'll probably find out a whole lot more once the sun rises. There's Trooper Bob, looks like some emergency officials. You can definitely see all the debris in the road there. So
yikes.
Watch out, Trooper Bob. That's a tree there. So lots of tree branches down, lots of pine straw on the road. Typically in a situation like this, you do get a lot of pine straw on the road. And that's another thing. Be very careful driving on these roads, because if you hit that pine straw that's wet, it can be very slippery, and your car can just slide right off the road. So
oh wow,
there it is. So lots of tree branches down, and that's why we're seeing the power outages, because those tree branches are being blown down. So some very, very good visuals there from Trooper Bob. I would imagine that's somewhere right near the Dorchester and Berkeley County line. You can see the emergency officials are there, and that's just it. If you see damage like this, notify the emergency officials. And is that a power line in the road?
That
it does.
I can't tell if that's just like across the screen or if that's a power line, and that's probably, I don't know how Bob got over that or if that just happened, but that's probably why those officers are out there.
And it stretches all the way over toward the left-hand side of the screen, so it makes almost like a C shape there in the middle of the road. It's likely a power line down there. And fortunately, the folks in that area have done the right thing. They notified the officials so they can get out there and keep the public away from that possibly live wire until the electricity company can get out there and repair the damage. So that's what you want. Otherwise, you could put yourself in a very bad situation.
Well,
so
I do want to bring up, later on today, we're looking into this afternoon, we're going to be looking a little bit drier, a little bit sunnier. You know what happens when we have that sunshine, we start to warm things up, right? Well, I know that our crews are working around the clock to restore power, estimated power times, as early as 8 o'clock this morning. But, a concern is those without power into this afternoon. It's going to be warm, it's going to be muggy still. So if you don't have power this afternoon, just make sure that you are taking the necessary precautions to keep yourself, your family, your pets cool as those temperatures start to warm up later.
So, Chairston, we've seen all the tornado warnings come to an end for the moment.
Yep.
So we could probably use a little break here. Mel and Conley look fairly bored over there. They want to talk to you this morning as well, but they've been working very hard keeping us up to date with some of the things going on behind the scenes with the electricity companies, with the emergency managers. So now they're going to go ahead and get you a little bit of the news of the day, and we'll bring you plenty more on Helene and the local impacts here. And if there are any tornado warnings, we'll get to those as well. So do we want to toss right over to Mel and Conley, or are we going to take a break? So we'll go ahead and take a break and get you plenty more coming up. So thanks for sticking with us, and please stay safe.
All right, here's a live look at US 17A through Somerville. This is just down from Marion Avenue that Cherison, our meteorologist, was talking about. This is right here at Gulf Road. Somerville police are blocking this area between here and, let's say, Somerville High School. If you're familiar with this area, you can see, watch out for the first responders. They're directing you down Gulf Road because of a downed tree in Somerville. We also have a first responders are working a fatal crash, according to officials that mentioned to me earlier, on Old Whitesville Road. A lot of power outage in this Somerville area, especially the Jedburgh area. As Cherison and Dave Williams were talking about these tornado warnings that were coming through right now. Very heavy rain, high winds, and then there'll come a period where you don't see anything. It's just, you think it's just nighttime, and then 2 minutes later you get high winds and heavy rain again. This is why you need to be really careful. Driving over here from Jedburgh, I did see a lot of branches in the roadway, trees, tree limbs down in some areas. We did have a vehicle on Jedburgh Road that struck a tree. That driver is okay, according to officials, but this is why it's so dangerous. We're out here so you don't have to be. There's really no reason to be out here. Businesses are closed. Gas stations in the areas that power outages, there is no gas. So we'll keep you updated on the air and online, and we are posting to social media, and we'll give you the latest. As soon as we get it, you'll get it just as fast.
All right, Bob, thanks for that update right now.
And we are all hands on deck this morning tracking Tropical Storm Helene.
Yeah, we're working for you. We've got the very latest on school schedules. They've changed all across the low country this morning. So today, Charleston, Berkeley, Georgetown, Dorchester districts 2 and 4, and Orangeburg County school districts, they've all moved to e-learning today because of the weather effects from Helene.
Extracurricular activities are canceled for DD2 and DD4, as well as Colleton County. They're also canceled for Charleston County School District. However, football games are still happening. We've also reached out to Georgetown County and Berkeley County about their games and are waiting to hear back.
Now, the State Department of Transportation is, of course, ready for this storm. Crews in affected areas will be ready to respond to potential flooding, high winds, and risks of tornadoes and debris. An important reminder, never drive through water or flooded roadways. Another important reminder, because we're seeing more of the downed power lines, don't drive over them, don't go out and try to move them. You do not know if they are live power lines. The power crews are working to fix those, and they're responding all across the low country this morning. Officials encouraging anyone with issues on the roads this morning. The number's right there on your screen, 855-467-2368. If you are in immediate danger, just dial 911. All right, let's take a look at power outages across the low country. I just added them up. So Dominion across the 4